Hi, it's Deborah, and I'm back for one of our one-way conversations. So, um, you're going to find this really amusing, probably. I was, a couple days ago, it was last week, I was talking to the Lord like I do constantly. I'm like running through the kitchen. I was making banana bread and I was dusting. We had some friends coming in for the weekend and just putzing around the house. But I had been talking to the Lord and asking Him, what do you want me to say exactly? Because he'd woke me up in the middle of the night the day before, and I'd written a bunch of notes down, and I was like, "You're giving me too much. You're talking to me too much here. I overloaded. What should I say? What should I say?" And I walked through the kitchen, and this is my journal that there's no way that you don't even want to know what's in here. It's like my brain explodes. This is what I wrote. Let's see, dusting, making protein balls, boiling eggs, blah blah. This is welcome to my world, right? Putzing around, and the Lord points out to me. I was walking through the kitchen, all of a sudden, and He says this to me: "I pulled you away." He brought a bunch of things to mind. I was doing some work some years ago, beautiful people to work around, beautiful work. But I had been taking some classes and just online and trying to learn how to do some online Instagram, Facebook. How to do some work with that. And He brought that to my mind in the kitchen and stopped me and said, "I pulled you away from those areas." Trying to promote in that way because it brought out the exhibitionist in you, the exhibitionist in me. He said it was unhealthy and that exhibitionism is promoted in the body. It's unhealthy. It's promoted by my adversary. And that we need to guard ourselves. That's what He said to me. He said, "Say that." Because I was saying to Him, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. And all of a sudden that popped in my head and I felt like He said, "Say that." I was like, are you kidding me? You want me to say that? Okay. So everything that He does in our life, everything that He does in our lives is for a purpose. So I was like, yeehaw, okay, that's fine. I'll just throw that out there. And while I'm at it, I'll eat crow too. So what I really wanted to talk about, I just, thought I'd throw that out there ahead of time. He does tell me things like that all the time. And has been for years. He's very, very blatant and very blunt a lot of times. And the more I listen, the more intricate the details are about the things that He has done, will do, wants me to stop doing, wants me to start doing, those kind of things. That's what I need. That's what I need in my life. So I'm not going to complain. I do whine a little bit because it's uncomfortable. It's very uncomfortable. But, okay. What I did want to mention was lately I'm hearing lots of voices. And there's a lot of people talking very loudly. People that I don't know these people. They didn't used to be part of my world, but now all of a sudden all these voices are talking. And I'm sure you're the same way. People that didn't used to weren't speaking into my life are now trying to speak into my life. But there's a lot of voices talking, and a lot of information. It's just like there's this storm of information. And I've heard some crazy stuff. I've heard some interesting stuff. Yeah, and I don't know if you have, I don't know what random things come across your path, but, I hear of wars and rumors of wars. I hear of, these people that are the evil people, wicked people, and these people that are supposedly the good people that are fighting for the good, right? I've heard that there are wicked people that are so wicked that they, even have places underground that they've built to do their wicked things. And, I don't doubt for a second that there probably are wicked people, and specifically in the scripture, it makes reference to several places, but specifically in the book of Revelation, it talks about people that have, that they go into their holes and caverns and stuff, and to hide from the glory of God, that the splendor, I think it is, of God, because of the revealing that begins to happen in those days. So yeah, it makes sense to me that bad people will dig a hole to do their bad stuff in. I think that it is really important for us to make sure that we do not focus on getting our eyes on other things, other intriguing stories. There are enough dark places right in here that somebody needs to get in there with a flashlight and look around and maybe release some things that need to be released, and maybe kill some things that need to be killed, take some things captive that need to be taken captive in here. I can pray for the victims in the world. I can pray for the innocent in the world that are getting harmed. There are always wicked people that are conniving to take advantage of the widows and the orphans and the innocent and the vulnerable. And so we do need to make sure that we're giving our money to ministries that minister in those areas, and that we're aware of those things, so we can pray and operate however benevolently we need to. But I think we have to be careful, especially in this day and age, not to be distracted by pointing over there or pointing over there. What's going on with my hair? Or God, my hair is like my journal. Sorry, pointing over here and pointing over there, and being distracted and focusing our intent and energies on things that we're hearing, the wars and the rumors of wars that we're hearing that are going on. As much as I'd like to believe that there's somebody out there working to do good things in the background, I know the one. Sorry, I know the one that is working, not just to remedy what's going on in all of the world, but also to remedy what's going on in this world, right? In the recesses of my deep places that I need Him to point to and say, you have a tendency to enjoy it, when people applaud, and that's not healthy. You don't want to be an exhibitionist. The world we're in promotes looking really good, and likes and all those things. And that's what He was showing me. He said, you don't want to be tangled up by the plans of the enemy against you, and that's what we got to watch for. And I have met the enemy, and it is me. I mean, I know I have an adversary, right? My adversary may provide the platform for me to dance on, but the little dancer in me is the one that I got to watch out for, because it's the Lord that gets the glory. It's God that gets the glory. He's the one, the only one, that gets the glory for everything. And so that's not what I was wanting to talk about. I was wanting to talk about the two paths that we're on. Sorry. Okay. I wanted to look at Matthew 7. Please be patient with me. This is not what I intended to do. This is what the Lord is having me do, is just be random off the cuff. And I'm sorry if it's kind of making you nuts. That if you want somebody more organized, you're going to have to head on down the road, because that's not me. Matthew 7 at the beginning, interestingly enough, right where it says the golden rule, treat others as you would like to be treated. It says, Matthew 7, this is verse 12, always treat others as you would like them to treat you. That sums up the teaching of the Torah and the prophets. Well, the Torah and the prophets are just all of the scriptures that they had when they were referring to, when they're like all scripture is God's breathed. That's what it's referring to, right? Torah and the prophets. So right after that, in verse 13, he says, go in through the narrow gate. This is Jesus talking, by the way. Go in through the narrow gate, for the gate that leads to destruction is wide and the road broad, and many travel it. This, I'm presuming, is one of the paths that you can go by that Led Zeppelin was referring to. Who knew that Led Zeppelin was so well versed in Scripture that they knew that there were two paths you could go by? Strangely enough, they think in the long run there's time to change the road you're on. And if you're listening to me right now, there may be time to change the road you're on. But maybe not tomorrow. We want to be careful about that. I'm sorry if I'm glib. That is a problem. Go in through the narrow gate, for the gate that leads to destruction is wide and the road broad, and many travel it. In other words, it's crowded. There's a lot of people that are going to agree with you if you're on that road. If you're the cuckoo, if you're the one that's going to take the road less traveled, that's this one. But it is a narrow gate and a hard road that leads to life, and only a few find it. So we're contrasting here the gate that leads to destruction. Many travel that one, and a few find the one that is the hard road that leads to life. So I wanted to point that out. The reason being that popped in my head, and I went to look for the scripture because I was like, oh, I'll go find that scripture. And I already had it pulled up. I was actually pulling up Matthew 7. And that's what I was going to talk about, was 21. I was going to start there, but I ended up just backing up. So isn't that ironic? Irony. So in between that passage and the passage that we're going to talk about is this little passage that's called A Tree and Its Fruit. And he talks about recognizing people by their fruit. And I want to be a fruity person. I want to be very fruity. I remember telling one of my girlfriends a long time ago that a lot of people produce fruit. We're all producing some kind of fruit. And sometimes, well, either way, sometimes you see fruit that's it's like Fruity Pebbles, or it's like fruit roll-ups, or it's like a plastic fruit. It's not real fruit. You think it's fruit at first, but then after you are around it, it's not real. So, okay. Well, either way, we're not going to talk about fruit. We should examine ourselves and make sure that we have that we're producing fruit in our lives, because I think right now we're all producing a lot of something. We're blooming. If it's not fruit production, we're blooming because the harvest is close. And I think that all over the world, we're seeing a lot of people, what's in here is coming out here. It's coming out of our mouths. It's coming out of our attitudes. It's coming out in manifesting in moods and all that. So we really need to pay very close attention to the fruit that we're producing, because the fruit that we're producing since that's right after the little passage about the road that you're on, that may be a good indicator, depending on what kind of fruit you have. If you have fruit of the Spirit, things like peace and patience and love and kindness and gentleness, those are fruit. When you find those things, you're like, oh, indicator of fruit of the Spirit, right? So that's a good way to know which road you're on, which it's a good time. It's a good day. It's a good day to look around and figure out which road you're on, because there is not always time to change the road you're on. And the world today is causing us to produce a lot of that fruit. So that's maybe a good indicator of how to find out which road we're on. Maybe I should wait. Okay, I've talked enough. What I was going to talk about, I'll do that another time because I need to run. I've got to go brush my teeth and hit the road because I got someplace to be. So I'll post this and then I'll come back and do this other one later. And right, no worries. Have a good evening and come back and see me another day. Bye.